Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Steve with Real Progressives. So, my inbox is full, like literally filled to the rim with awesomeness because people are learning modern monetary theory. They are learning it, they're reading it, and they're getting in touch with me constantly. And one of the recurring themes is, how do I deal with X or how do I deal with Y? Because people are taking it beyond the hallowed kingdom of real progressives. They're taking it out amongst mixed company. They're taking it out amongst the LOL libertarians. They're taking it out with the Republicans and the other vote blue sycophants. And worse, the worst part is they're taking it out amongst progressives who still believe the same worthless nonsense that we've been talking about for a year now plus. So I think it's important for you guys to understand that you don't have to fight every battle. Every battle doesn't have to be won. Every battle doesn't have to be fought. Okay? It's important to be able to tell which person is actually striving to learn versus who is just a frickin' waste of your life, a time suck, a troll, someone that is utterly devoid of value in your life, wasting your time. This is heavy shit. It's important, right? It is. It's very important. Economics is the most important thing that we've got in front of us. Because none of your pet projects happen without understanding economics. And none of this shit happens if the Republicans believe that their taxes are funding your liberal ideas. They don't happen if a red Congress and a red Senate and a red president say, we're not dealing with you because we're not raising taxes to pay for your pet projects. So what do you do with that? What are you going to do with that? You going to just take another 4 years off? You're just going to check out for 4 years and wait for some nice people to come along that like your ideas? Hell no. We got to fight, gang. And the thing is that what I'm offering up, the things that I talk about, unlike any of the other time wasters out there, I'm offering you a tool that can work in a nonpartisan fashion, folks. See, this is what real progress is about. It's not pet things. It's not being anal. It's not about being weird. It's not about being strange. It's not about frickin' just taking your special things and driving people nuts with it. It's about making progress for all. So in this case, the modern monetary theory allows Republicans to not worry about taxes being raised because they don't need your taxes. Your taxes don't fund spending. So the progressives that believe it is are wrong. The Democrats that believe it is are wrong. When the Republicans say, we got to lower taxes, tell them, you know what? You're right. We agree with you. Tell them, you're right. We agree with you. You want to raise taxes for what reason? Because they're going to pay for something? Liar! So you've got to know that when you're talking to somebody and they come out, and you know, this is my favorite one, the ones that saunter out, yeah, you and that fake fiat currency, man. You know, it needs to be backed by gold and then, you know, but the Rothschilds, you know, the Rothschilds, they got the gooseneck going, you know, they're all sauntering in. They're a time waste, most of them. Seriously, they don't have any intention of learning. They're a full cup. They're a full cup. You can't fill a full cup. You can't. What are you going to add to a full cup? You're going to pour water, it's just going to go all over the floor, right? Maybe some of the new water will displace some of the old water, but I doubt it. Most likely what you're dealing with is somebody who is absolutely a time suck, a waste of time. A complete waste of time. You could dismantle them, you could destroy them, you could absolutely decimate them, and they would never acknowledge their ass whooping. They would never acknowledge the fact that they just got crushed in the world of economics. They would never admit that they were just absolutely decimated, that their entire whole belief system was crushed in one fell swoop. They wouldn't believe it. They wouldn't buy it. They wouldn't sit there and acknowledge it. So, a little lesson that I learned here. I engage, I put stuff out there. And when I see people really are taking the time to learn it, and they come to me and they ask questions, I will bend over backwards to answer every single question you have. Every one of them. But when I see bloviators out there, mouthing off, talking beyond their knowledge level, my first instinct is to go full freaking samurai sword crazy and just destroy them. That's my first impulse. I want to just I want to leave them in tatters so that others step up and say, wow, I don't want that to happen to me. But I don't anymore. Why? Because it doesn't do any good. So I ignore them mostly. I don't even pay any attention to them. I just talk to the people that literally are trying to learn. And then when the other ones realize that I'm ignoring them and that I'm not going to pay any attention to them until they do some reading, it's just like, hey guys, this is a two-way deal. This is a two-way deal. You want to learn what I'm talking about? You want to fight with me? You want to debate me? Do your homework. Do your homework. And then I'll have a grown-up discussion with you. But I'm not going to sit there and dive into the mud with the pigs. Just not going to do it. Why? To what ends? But I will tell you, some of these things that we put out there, I've been finding out the hard way. People don't want to put their head up. They don't want to pop up and let you know they're checking it out. They don't want to know that they're actually reading up on it because they don't want to admit they don't know. So there's a lot of people out there who are actually taking the time to read this stuff, but never, ever come out of their hole and tell you that they're trying to learn because they're embarrassed. And those are the people that I want to talk to. Those are the people. Those are the people that I want to talk to. So I hate when my connection goes slow, but there's not much I can do about it. It's just the curse of live streaming, I guess. But when somebody actually takes the time to learn, when they take the time to ask questions, I don't want them silent. I want them ask the dumbest question ever. It isn't dumb. If you mean it, if you really want to learn, it is not a dumb question. It is the most important question. It is the question that I'm going to spend the most time answering. I only get really uppity with the people that saunter in talking Austrian economics and gold standard crap and throw the name Rothschilds at me. Then I just go full ninja because it's difficult to deal with the idiocy. I'm not going to lie. That's where the idiocy becomes difficult. But I still don't engage anymore. In fact, some of the people in the back door will send me information that they're in a chat with. They'll cut and paste, or they'll show me a screenshot and say, what do you say to this guy? And I'm like, tell him F off, man. Tell him screw off. We're already doing it. It doesn't matter whether they think it should be done. It's already happening. Do you realize everything I've said is happening to this day, right this minute? It's not theory. I'm not saying, hey, let's implement this really neat new economic thing. I'm telling you, this is how it is. The difference is that they're doing it all on the military. Guys like me are saying, why are they just doing it on the military? Why aren't they doing it on the 99%? And then all of a sudden, well, hyperinflation in Zimbabwe, and you can't forget about Argentina and Greece. That's when I lose my mind. I do. I ain't gonna lie. I lose my mind. And then I throw a link, because I got links ready for battle. And, I'll just say, here's a link to the person that's asking the question. Because I don't have the tolerance anymore to deal with trolls. I just get rid of trolls. Trolls, be gone. Spray, that troll spray, gone. They do nothing but suck your life away. The contrarians of the world. The people that hate authority. Your authority. Oh, you like an authority guy. So much authority. Those guys. Oh, what are you, a statist? What are you, a statist? He's a statist. Steve's a statist. That stuff drives me crazy. So I just ignore them. I block them. I get rid of them. I toss them. They're not worth my time because they're not there to learn. They're not there to talk about fixing the country. They're there just to be a negative, just a corrosive cancer, just a pain in the ass. You know what I mean? There's like nothing of value there. So why would I waste my time? Why would I waste my time with that? You know what I mean? Seriously, I want to match wits with people who are really seriously trying to change the world. Those people I will waste every moment of my life with if it means just answering the smallest question for them. The smallest question for someone earnestly seeking, I will bend over backwards and do whatever I can to do it. But just remember, those lurkers, the people that are around, that are watching, but they're not speaking, they're not saying things. They're just sort of, I wonder what's going on here. I wonder what they're really talking about. Those are the people that when you have a good exchange, when you're actually really talking economics with them, those are the people that dig it up and pick it up, and out of nowhere, they'll send you an inbox. I know I haven't talked to you before, Steve, but I just want to let you know that I learned a lot today. I read this article by L. Randall Wray, and suddenly I realized that taxes don't fund spending. The light bulb went off. I get it now. And I'm like, there you go. Here's my phone number. Let's talk anytime. Seriously. And then all of a sudden, I start grooming them. I start giving them more to eat, more food, more knowledge. And little by little by little, we're building out this nice little economic army. Seriously. And that, to me, is worth its weight in gold. Gold, standard gold. So bottom line is that when you start engaging out there, and this doesn't even have to be about modern monetary theory, but it's in particular about that because this is one of the most difficult subjects of them all. You're asking people to suddenly fundamentally disbelieve something they've always believed and have always been wrong about. So how do you tell somebody there is no Santa? How do you tell somebody that, hey, that thing you believe in, it's not real, and here's the proof? How do you make them understand that? You know, it's hard. I mean, you guys see me. I mean, there is countless times where I say this stuff and somebody will come in here. What are you, a Republican? What are you, a this? What are you, a that? What are you, a Trumper? What are you? You know? And I'm like, no, I'm just a smart guy that understands economics, dude. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. And I'm trying to help you understand it. Do you want to be right? You want to fight with me? Do you just want to fight with me? Or do you want to actually learn something? If you want to learn something, let's go. Let's bring it. Bring it. It's all I'm about. I will spend all day long. I will cost my family hours of the day. I will wake up early. I'll do whatever for the right person, for the people that really mean it and want to learn it. There's no amount of effort that I won't be willing to put in. But the minute people start negging me and they start cutting my legs out from under me and they start just being cantankerous and they don't actually add value, they just talk smack, I wash it. There's no point. And I'm telling you, there's no point. Don't waste your time because there's a lot of good people in the world that really want to know. And maybe, just maybe, if they see their friends learning that aren't trolls, maybe they, by osmosis, will decide to get off the schneid and learn something. But engaging them directly, it's a waste of time. I'm telling you, over and over and over again, this stuff is way too deep. It's way too deep. It's very simple. There is absolutely nothing difficult about it. It's just the most difficult part is getting past what you believe, what you already believe. Deprogramming and then reprogramming. That's the difficulty. And so I think, hold on, let's see here. I'm going to start just for grins. I want to see what other people are saying here. It's important to learn. How can you find an answer, confirm what you think when you don't know questions of playing field? I get one thing. Thank you. It does take time. Yes, you are absolutely correct. I mean, I want to try and read some of the stuff. You know, I think there's usually someone who says that about themselves, think they're smarter. So Bridget's coming in here, sauntering, just, there's a troll. Thanks, Bridget. So yes, exactly. Thank you, Sherry. And Donald, let me just say this right up front. Donald Oakes, who is in here commenting, it requires an open mind. Donald is one of the people that has actually really taken the ball and run with it. I've really, really, really been absolutely amazed with the work that Donald has done. When we've entered into these conversations, he is right there to actually walk through step by step by step, each of the things. And I am so, so grateful for you, Donald Oakes. Seriously. Donald Oakes is a star. I mean, seriously, a star amongst stars for me. He makes everything worthwhile. He's talking to me. That's an hour ago, asking people to vacate my life if they weren't. No, Jesse, I wasn't, but that is an absolutely perfect thing. You want people that want to learn. I want to learn. I mean, I am not a full cup. My cup's only 3/4 full. I always got room for more stuff. Always more stuff. I know I don't know everything. But the things that I do know about, this small subset of things that I am pretty damn sure about, I'm going to keep talking because they're life-changing. When the light bulb goes on, you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm telling you, you're going to get pissed. That's the thing. The first instinct, once the light bulb goes on, once you realize what I'm talking about, that first moment where you realize those sons of bitches could have given you single-payer health care now. Once you realize how many people have died carrying the water for this lie, that's when the real shit's going to hit the fan, and you're going to want to go out and tell people stuff. And when that light bulb moment happens, I want to be there to help you. I want to help you because this is what happened to me when that light bulb moment happened to me years ago. Okay, I've been doing this for a long time. Like, I remember early on when I had Grumbine's Political Mosh Pit. We had people like Stephanie Kelton in there. We had Warren Mosler. We had Mike Norman from Norman Economics. We had Scott Fulweiler, John Harvey, Bruce Patrick, Gerg Annabelle Christel. We had Doug Morrell. We had all these guys in there. Tons and tons of people. Tons of them. We would have these long, awesome debates. I'm talking about like 1,500 comment debates about detailed economics, functions of the Federal Reserve, real not the bullshit, not the real stuff. And this is before Hillary became the deal. And so there was a lot of good Democrats that were, turned out to be Hillary supporters that understood this too. And that made our divide that much more difficult because they knew the truth about economics, yet they sat there and protected a disgusting neoliberal. They knew the truth and their identity politics was so strong, they stuck with the shill. Even though she was all about balanced budgets, cutting deficits, all the bullshit that kills an economy. That's the stuff. But when that moment hits, the moment that I'm talking about hits, I was reading this thing by L. Randall Wray in New Economic Perspectives called What Are Taxes Really For? And that was when I finally realized that states are different than the federal government. States are currency users and the federal government is a currency issuer. And I was like, oh, what did I just hear? What does this mean? Oh my God. And then the lights, bing, 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 bing. That was my moment. That was my moment. And, people slow walked me. Do you know what a dollar is? Let's talk about what a dollar is. Do you think a dollar is that piece of paper? I was like, yeah, isn't it? They're like, what's a bill? It's a note, but it's not a dollar. You've never seen a dollar. I said, really? I've never seen a dollar? What are you saying? They talked all these riddles and stuff, and I was like, yeah, come on, get to the point, damn it. And they would drag me here and there. And bottom line was that I have never seen a dollar because a dollar is an idea. It's a unit of measure. It's digital. It doesn't exist in paper. Paper is a coupon, a representative of a dollar. So if they're invisible, where do dollars come from? I don't know. Where do they come from? So bottom line, When the federal government creates the US dollar, we don't need to borrow it from China. And that light bulb moment went, that was like the big one. That was another one. It's like, you mean to tell me these knuckleheads have been telling me we're in debt to China? That's just that they have a savings account at the Federal Reserve and the Treasury bonds. But don't Treasury bonds pay for government? No, we create the dollar, Steve. Why do you keep saying that? Because I'm a knucklehead and I voted for Ron Paul way back when. I admit it, man. I was an Austrian buffoon, a gold bug, a dork, an idiot, a loser, a microphone abuser. So let's see here. Let's go back. I want to see. I saw somebody say, so who were the folks that presented MMT to you? Laura, that question. A guy named Bruce Patrick pulled me aside. Bruce Patrick is one of the nicest men you'll ever meet in your entire life. Bruce Patrick was an original admin of Real Progressives. The guy, he and I would talk on the phone hours a day, and I'd be like, oh my God, I think I had another breakthrough. Bruce, what do I do? And then he introduced me to people like Warren Mosler and a host of others. He really, really brought me into the fold, and I learned so much. There's a group out there called the Modern Money Planning Committee. And it is a little ivory towerish, let me just be honest with you. There's another group called Intro to Modern Monetary Theory. There's another group out there called Deficit Owls. My buddy Sam Levy runs that. Great guy. And I didn't meet him back in the day. I've only met him here recently. And Sam will oftentimes come into our threads and answer questions too in unison. I love the collaboration, folks. I really, really do. Yeah, thank you, Carla. Anyway, I think that it's important that you guys realize, though, that this is very attainable. It's not that difficult to understand. The most simple thing to understand in this whole deal is that the United States government is God of the dollar. It doesn't need to borrow it from anyone. The Federal Reserve is independently acting within the government. Okay? So all this, the only thing federal about the Federal, there's nothing federal about the Federal Reserve. Blah, 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 blah. That's the stuff, man, that makes me want to drop the elbow. Bam! Flying off the top rope. You know, these are the things, man. But the reality is that the Federal Reserve does what it does to maintain monetary policy. Congress, by the Constitution, owns fiscal policy. It doesn't have to be that way, but it is that way. And there's some goodness to that, and I'll start with the goodness. Number one, by keeping it outside of the political realm, it keeps it away from, let's say, I mean, it sounds great when you think you've got a progressive in office, right? You got a whole progressive Congress, and you got a progressive Senate, progressive president. Have we ever had that before? I don't think so. Shit, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. Sadly, the worst part is they'd probably screw it up. They would probably screw it up right now and try and balance the budget. They'd balance the budget. We'll raise taxes up and we'll make a balanced budget. Ruin the economy. And then all of a sudden the Republicans, who actually get this better than the left does. How funny is that? How funny is that? The Republicans get this more than the Democrats or the progressives do. The Republicans always spend more. Look, I promise you, it's easy. This is verifiable. Whenever there's a Republican president, spending goes through the roof. It's always on the military, but it goes through the roof. Deficits spend like crazy. When there's a Democratic president, the Democrats pat themselves on the back so much for all the fiscal responsibility that they have, reducing deficits. And then what happens? The cycle ends. A Republican gets in. The Republican gets a a frickin' recession every time. And then what happens? The Democrats suddenly say, "Yeah, we'll spend. We'll do a big, spending package, right? We'll do some stimulus." Did it with Obama at first. I thought, wow, maybe somebody finally is getting this, right? Nope. Shortly thereafter, the sequestration hit. Shortly thereafter, everybody's lauding Obama for reducing the deficit between taxes and spending. And all of a sudden, we've had the slowest recovery, if you want to call it a recovery, in modern era. But Obama saved us. Please, come on. See, this is where it's not partisan, and this is how you can make progress across the aisle. They don't want their taxes going up. That's okay. We need the spending go up. That's okay. They're going to make the spending go up. They're going to spend on the military. It's up to us to say, hey, we can spend on the military big time. We can. We should. We should. But instead of spending on bombs and tanks and killing machines, we should spend on R&D. How do you think ARPANET and all the other stuff came about, which created the internet? Think about that. It was through military research and development. Hell, if that's how Republicans are willing to spend, no problem. But let's put our liberal sensibilities on where those spendings go. Let's go ahead and get some R&D. Let's go ahead and cure some of these diseases that maybe aren't as well known. Let's go ahead and find a way to do complete renewable energy. We have a great military when it comes to research and development. We have a great set of minds that can create this stuff. If that's the way they have to do it, I'm okay with that. As long as we don't put it to the war machine and the killing machines. Think about it. This is why you got to use your noodle. And you can't just freaking go out there and just say, we got to cut military spending across the board. It's the one place where we've got bipartisan support, right? It's the one place. Democrats don't want to cut it because there's too many things built in their areas. Republicans don't want to cut it because there's too many things built in their areas. And they both know it's the one thing they can get away with spending out the wazoo on because it's in the name of national safety. So what if instead of making war machines, what if instead of waging war, we invested in renewable energy and all the other things that we want through R&D, which is not going to be in any way, shape, or form. It's not going to in any way, shape, or form be profitable. So it's got to be done by the government, right? Think about that for a minute. If we increase government spending, couldn't we reduce taxes and help the economy that way? Boom. Yes, you could. Absolutely. We can both increase spending and reduce taxes all at once, and it won't hurt anything. Well, within reason. Remember, sectoral balances, right? So what's the deal with sectoral balances? Sectoral balances are the main equalizers on the radio that you've got to play to. Remember that. Are we a trade net importer or a net exporter? Do we have a stacked ton of private debt? Are we near the top? Are we getting ready to hit a bubble? Or are we flush with cash? And how about the federal government? It can spend if those two things are met. If we have a trade deficit, we can spend. If we have unemployment, we can spend. If we have real things that need to be accomplished, we can spend. So it's just real important that we all understand that and don't waste our time fighting with trolls. Only waste your time with those people who are actively seeking, even if they're wrong, if they're earnest in the way they're approaching you, take the time, it's worth it. But if they're just trolling you hard, cut bait. Cut them off. There's no point in wasting your time there. It really is a time suck, and it's one you won't get out of, and you'll want to stick in there because you know you're right, and you'll just go down the toilet with them. And it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So with that, this is Steve with Real Progressives. Please do me a favor. Help us out on our Patreon account. Help us reach our initial goal here. We're fast approaching it. Please donate. If you can, if you're a writer, please sign up for our website and write for us. If you want to volunteer, please go to our website again, click the volunteer button in the top right, and go ahead and sign up as a volunteer. You know, if you like us and you want to see repeats of this easy fashion, go to our YouTube channel. Go to our Twitter. We have all sorts of stuff going on, folks. And tomorrow's a big day in Washington, D.C. With that, my connection's acting foolish, so I'm going to go ahead and log off here. Have a great night, everybody. I love y'all. Peace.